opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning. Good morning. It's good to see everyone. So we're in the last day of what's been a pretty long retreat. And I think Toki, you pointed out that this retreat has been remarkable for the number of very experienced practitioners who are here. And I would add to that a lot of newer people who have really heartfelt aspiration toward the way. And it's been a wonderful mixture, wonderful cocktail, because the way it's been expressed is not only in the depth and the quiet of the sitting, but really I just can't remember a retreat where all the service positions, tasks, the functions, the spirit with which they're done has just made me feel very moved and very taken care of, from the servers working in the kitchen, the gardening crew, the liturgy team. It's all well, it's just wonderful. Really, it's wonderful. And I just want to express gratitude for the practice of everyone in this room full of dragons and elephants. The assembly in Vimalakirti's room has nothing on this trip. It's really quite amazing for me to be back in this room again, because for many years this was where we practiced at Wisdom House, and then for reasons of COVID, I guess, we moved to the chapel, and now we're back. We used to call this room the bunker. I think it's pretty obvious why it got that nickname. And I really can see it as kind of a Vimalakirti room, because so many beings and so many things have come and gone through this room. For example, just about 25 years ago, right where our Shuso is sitting, I was the Shuso, sitting right in that seat. And as I was watching our Shuso do his stuff, I was thinking, God, I wish I could have watch Seryu doing Shuso, because I would have been a much, much better Shuso than I was. Of course, at the time I only had 10 years of practice, and Seryu has many more years of practice than that, and it really, really shows the grace, the gentleness, the humor with which he's guided us all. Could be a model for anyone who wants to undertake this position. I just can't say enough about how he has guided us at this retreat. And you'll get a chance to profit from his many, many, many years of practice at our Shuso ceremony this afternoon. And although we have many experienced people here who are not qualified to ask our Shuso questions, I hope you newcomers with great aspiration will support our Shuso by signing up to ask him a question about his koan, or about anything you'd like to bring up. I'm very much looking forward to it. More changes that have come and gone in this room of emptiness. At my Shuso ceremony, my parents and Karina's parents, they were all here. And 12 years later, they were all gone. My father-in-law, who used to like to talk about Harry Truman with me, and my mother-in-law, my father, who were both wonderful artists. My mother, who taught me to read and how to play a bridge. Where are they? Where is the 45-year-old Ryo who sat on that cushion? We come in the Vimalakirti Sutra, you know, we have that very common Indian trope of forms are just magical projections without substance. And, you know, it's a nice philosophical concept, but when I think of all the people who have gone, my parents, my family, dear dharma friends who have passed away, Kaku, Peggy, who began the process of passing right here at Sesshin, and Joan is here. He rushed her to the hospital and was with her, and many more. We remember some of them in our service. Ocean, Genjin. I don't know if Genjin ever practiced here. This might have been just a little after his time. Changes, 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 and yet here's the room. Here is this boundless room. As Gesho mentioned about the carpet, this room extends boundlessly throughout space and time. I mean, conventionally, we set, you know, a boundary. We say, oh, well, this room stops at that wall, and at that wall, and at those doors. And we don't even think about it, but really, nothing stops there. Wisdom House carries on. Beyond Wisdom House, the great state of Connecticut. Beyond Connecticut, the great state of, well, great country of the United States. Boundless to the whole world, the whole universe throughout space and time, just like Gesho pointed out to us about the carpet. And so that raises the question, well, why do we practice in this room? Why don't we practice over in Schenectady or, well, Bernie Glassman would practice anyway. But, well, what is it about this room? Well, it's simply, first of all, that there's just a general social agreement that this is a room. So it's taken care of as a room by the people at Wisdom House. The carpet is vacuumed, it's heated in the winter, it's cooled in the summer. And because it's treated as a room, we accept the boundaries. We come here to practice, and not just us. This room has no particular characteristics in terms of what kind of practice goes on here. So on Monday there won't be a trace of a Zen retreat here. This has wholly been created by us. Shunryu asked that great koan, how do you stop a Zen retreat? Well, we've been doing it. This is a Zendo. Well, what makes it a Zendo, really? I mean, we just have a social agreement to call it a Zendo. But what? You know, we come in, we bow. Is that bow a Zen retreat? No, it's, and so on and so forth with all the other stuff that we do. We brush off cushions, smooth the hashiki, parade clockwise in Kinhin. Is there a Zen retreat in any of that stuff? Really? And yet, in the same way that Wisdom House treats this as a room, we treat it as a Zendo. So the Zen retreat is us. It's not separate from us. It's not separate from our bow. It's not separate from our cleaning off our cushions. It's not separate from the mindfulness with which we engage in Oryoki. And because we create the Zen retreat, because that is our vow, because that is our intention, even though this room is completely boundless, we can be right or wrong. Form makes a difference. I think of Miyoko's 16th of an inch. Well, we can get very caught up in 16ths of inches, like, oh God, my Oryoki silverware is just a little, it's like half an inch too close to my bowl. Did other people see that? Form can really be a great benefit to us, and it can be a great obstacle to us. And of course, the Vimalakirti Sutra suggests an attitude toward form. I think Tokyo put it very well, that in the Mahayana, we 100% respect form, but at the same time, we treat it with a certain softness, that soft touch he talked about. in a way, the sutra pokes fun at the voice hearers, the very, very holy followers of the Buddha. But we should know that in the Mahayana, these people were held in the utmost respect. Their practice was deeply respected by Mahayana practitioners and lay people alike. That, there being the Vinaya, 350 different things you had to do at all times if you were going to be a monk. Very highly respected. But the Mahayana also appreciated how getting stuck to the form can be a great barrier. A great barrier to what? Well, a great barrier to living a life of wisdom and compassion. In the sutra, I'm sure those of you who have read it remember the story about the goddess who appears at Vimalakirti's gathering and mischievously strews flowers everywhere. Flower child. It reminds me a little of the hippie girls who used to put flowers in the barrel of a policeman's rifle. And so when the flowers get strewn around, something weird happens. What happens is the flowers stick to the arhats, to the voice hearers, and they fall off the bodhisattvas. And the voice hearers are like appalled. You are not supposed to have any adornment on your very, very holy priest robe. No. That is like a major no-no. So they're like, and so a dialogue ensues between Shariputra and the goddess. He wants to know, well, why does the flowers fall off the bodhisattvas? She says, why are you trying to get those flowers off your robe? And he says, oh, it's forbidden to have any ornamentation on the robe. And she says, well, those flowers stick to you because you make these kinds of distinctions between holy and not holy. The bodhisattvas don't make those kinds of distinctions, so there's no place for flowers to stick. They're not hung up. Well, why is it important in the Mahayana for the bodhisattvas not to make those kinds of distinctions? It's not like ring-a-ding, anything goes, guys. That's not what it's about. It's about what Jisei pointed out, that the bodhisattva is wide open. His mind is wide open like the boundlessness of Vimalakirti's room, like the boundlessness of our room here. The bodhisattva is wide open to anything, everything. Why? Sounds like the sutra. Why? Well, because the bodhisattva will use anything that comes to hand to help alleviate the suffering of the world. This boundless world sounds great. Yeah, it's boundless, but as the Fusho pointed out, that boundlessness includes terror and suffering of the most appalling kind in this human realm. ours. And the Bodhisattva's vow, we take those vows every evening at the end of our sitting, is to save all beings, to master all dharmas. Another translation is to enter all dharma gates, not just the ones that are holy and nice and look good and feel good, to enter all dharma gates. That is attaining the Buddha way. It's unattainable because it's nothing more than meeting the needs of this moment, seeing suffering or seeing something needs to be done, and just doing it. Not worrying about whether your robe gets a little bit dirty or not. Like Jisei said, sometimes those patients in the hospital want you to flirt with them. That's what would really make them feel like a human being again instead of a thing to stick needles in. Well, you can't imagine a holy voice here flirting with a patient. Oh, no. That's against the 90th. No, the Bodhisattva, if they're in a hospital and the patient needs a little jollying up, so form is extremely important, and the way we hold form is equally important. Stopping a Zen retreat involves paying attention to form and also holding it softly. And most of all, it involves, in general, not just a retreat, but in general as followers of the Mahayana way, we're constantly cultivating this wide open sensibility, a wide open mind where all ideas are free to come in, even those we find absolutely reprehensible. But we don't spit on people and reject them. We allow them in. Open heart. It takes an open heart to see what those patients in the hospital need, whether it's, I did a little chaplaincy work, and then I went into prison work, I was down on my knees praying to Jesus, no problem. I'm a fan. And, whatever the needs of the moment are, that's where the Bodhisattva enters. So just as I was feeling nostalgic about our Vimalakirti's room here, I haven't done our yogi in a dog's age due to the pandemic, and it was both good and horrible to connect with it again. Most of you know what I mean. But one thing that really struck me was this wide open attitude. So we're told that at the beginning of the Diamond Sutra, this is how it starts, where the Buddha gets up and he goes into a town, I forget what town it is, no, it wasn't Vaisali, Varanasi, maybe. Anyway, some Indian town. He goes in and he goes begging. His bowl is completely open. And the custom of the time is whatever gets put in your bowl. That's what you're going to have for your meal. And of course, the Indians respected holy monks like the Buddha. A lot of times great delicacies were put in the bowl. But I'm sure like any other place on earth, the town had its share of pranksters. So you can imagine some of the things the Buddha found in his bowl and had to respond to without self-clinging. And so when we chant that at the beginning of the Oryoki, we make our commitment to that kind of openness. Because the Buddha's bowl wasn't just that bowl he was taking around in the Diamond Sutra. As we know, the whole universe is this open bowl. And in it comes great joy, great delight, wonders upon wonders, and also things that are so horrible we can't even bear to look at or think about them. But each moment we open Buddha Tathagata's eating bowl, and our vow is to respond to whatever comes in, not to cover the bowl up, not to try to keep it squeaky clean and holy, but to take all of it, to respond to all of it without the self-clinging of, no, this can't be happening to me. No, I'm not responsible for all that horrible stuff that happened a long time ago. I wasn't even there. No, we take it in, respond to all of it. So it's important to be wide open, and it's also important to respond appropriately, to pay attention to the needs of the moment, to what we're doing at this moment, to create a space for practice in this empty room we all live in. A teacher who was really into this idea of openness was Master Joshu. When he began his pilgrimage after his teacher died, he said, if a child of 5 can teach me something, I'll learn from him gladly. If 80-year-old man, well, 90, Joshu was already about 60 when he began his pilgrimage. If I can teach him something, I'll gladly give that as an offering. And so he wandered about for 20 years and began teaching at age 80 or roughly thereabouts in the town of Joshu. And a monk came to him one day. By the way, it was a very poor temple, very poor. It was like Vimalakirti's sick room at the beginning. A monk came into this crummy little temple where Joshu was teaching, and he said, everywhere I've heard of the great stone bridge of Joshu. Now, Joshu was also the town where there was a famous stone bridge. But now I come here and I see you, and I'm just seeing a simple little log bridge. And Joshu said, well, you only see the log bridge, you don't see the stone bridge. The monk said, What is the stone bridge? Joshu said, it lets asses cross, it lets horses cross. It's an open bowl. Everyone crosses. On the other hand, he was also very aware of the importance of form, but also of the way that form can get people stuck. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite Joshu stories where Joshu is in the Zen, he's sweeping out the zendo. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. And this monk comes in and says, but this is a holy temple. Why does dust come in? Joshu goes, comes in from outside. I think that's a very interesting comment. Aren't we always told there's no inside or outside? Well, as soon as you set up a holy temple, then if you're in the temple, you're holy and you're inside. And if you're outside, you're in there, out there with the dust. It comes in from outside. The monk is really, this question is really tearing him up. He says, but this is a holy temple. Why is there dust? And Joshu goes, look, there's another one. So, as our session winds to a close and we get ready for the joy of the Shuso ceremony, let's take care of this not so holy temple that we've been creating with such wonderful spirit over the past week or so. Let's take care of it a while longer with the grace and good humor that our Shuso showed to us. And then when it's over, let's carry our open minds and our open hearts outside this holy temple. When we do that, the whole world is nothing other than a holy temple, right where we are.
Sesshin.